what you want. And
welcome back, No Means Nerds. No means no nicks. No means nobodies. To the No Means No Thing, No Means Nothing podcast. The podcast where three absolute unredeemable fucking idiots are trying their hardest to figure out the very best No Means No song of all time. And of course, spoilers, there isn't one. I'm one of your hosts, Jordan.
I'm Matthew.
And I'm Michelle.
And we're back after a 4-week break. I don't know. You guys, we're done apologizing. This shit comes out when it comes out. You listen to it when you listen to it. Here we are. We're excited to be here, but it is what
when
it
you
is.
say no means no necks, I always think no means no necks. Like no neck.
Yeah.
Like,
that's kind of what I mean.
A bruiser,
Exactly.
a fire plug, a dude named Chooch.
Yeah.
I don't get it at all. It sounds like you're saying nick, like I nicked my finger.
No, like Bolshevik nick, like you just call people like you're a this nick, a peace nick, a peace nick, whatever.
I don't know.
It's okay.
Okay.
It doesn't have to make sense. We're a dumb podcast. So this week we are going to talk about some great fucking songs, but we're not going to let you know what those are yet. So we're going to kind of dip. Well, actually, I should say apparently none of us were really, really, really good Christians because none of us were raptured today during the eclipse. And as a fact,
right.
and in fact, I don't think anyone got
those
raptured.
things have lots of things to do with each other.
Well, of course they do. And I don't think anybody got raptured because in fact, no one has accepted Christ truly as they should. And so we're all just going to hell. We're stuck here. Life in hell is where we're at, apparently. But no, happy Eclipse Day in the past to all of you. You survived. We all made it. I don't know if either of you got to see any of it. I got to see a 34% eclipse today. First time it hasn't been fucking foggy where I live when there's anything celestial happening. And that was kind of glorious. Went out with my little glasses.
There was one like 6-7 years ago, which is pretty much complete. And I did the pinhole camera thing and whatever. Like in this part of the world, very little effect. So whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it got a little dim. But
Yeah.
then, maybe I had a beer and got a little dim myself.
There you go. That's dimmed down by 30%. Exactly. I think that song is apparently 4 minutes 27 seconds. And the eclipse lasted
yes, I saw the thing.
We all know the memes. In any event, that's enough time talking about
around,
events which are all in your past. So fuck that. And anyway, we're going to move on to the power of positive drinking. And we are joined today in studio by friend of the podcast, Rolf. Rolf, please step up to the microphone.
Rolf Walburton.
And share with everybody.
He's on the Barca lounger in the back.
Here. Let me come a little bit closer. Hey guys,
there
how you
he
doing?
is.
There you go. Now that's Terry Gross style. Give us what you got.
It's so nice to see you all.
Good
so
to
nice
see you
to
too,
see you,
sir. What are you drinking today?
I am drinking an IPA all the way from Victoria, BC. It's called Raised by Wolves from Driftwood Brewing.
Sweet. Crack it open.
Yeah, this podcast needs a whole lot more IPAs, as I've said before.
There you go. You're here to represent. Wait, crack that open right in the mic. It's not even open yet.
Yeah, well, here we go.
There's a glass for you there behind you.
Oh, I love that. That's nice.
Oh, yum, yum.
That was some good sounding. I'll support that. I'll support the IPA movement here.
Thanks for having me back 50 episodes later or something.
Yeah, well,
so Rolf will not be participating in this evening's festivities, but he'll be.
He will in spirit.
Yeah, but he asked if he could get in for free.
Yeah. Which is probably better because I think, it's Michelle needs like 60 episodes between ones where we have guests and have to use the 4-sided die to decide. So we're not going to do that yet. We're going to wait.
4-sided my ass.
I'm going to email her like a gold-plated one at some point. All going to be ones.
Okay. I'll tell you where you can put it.
Yep. I'll have already pre-put it there for you. So next is me. I've got the nice big old tall glass whiskey because I need one. It's been a fucking shit week already. It's only Monday. So here we go. Bottoms up. Also, while I'm raising my glass, tip of the hat to Mr. Matthew, who's now joined us on the side of old men and old people. Happy 5-0, sir.
Yeah.
And
last Monday.
Happy birthday, Matthew. Absolutely.
Excellent. Literally all downhill from here. I don't know if that's good or bad, but congratulations, sir. You've made it.
Thank you very much.
Now, Michelle, what do you got in your mic?
I've got the Lord's Tears.
Mm-hmm. Pour it. Don't leave me hanging.
I will.
Oh.
Your face.
That is just one of my favorite sounds of all time. That's wonderful.
There's
Look
not
at
many
that.
beers you can pour like this where they don't
They're
go all
not-
over the table.
nope,
And this one you can. You're
it's-
supposed to pour it pretty quickly.
It's beautiful. It's really one of God's treasures.
It's one of the wonders of the world.
Yep. And Matthew,
Uh-oh.
what do you have?
Well, because it was my
What are you
birthday, I
drinking?
was sort of permitted myself some libations,
Excellent.
adult libations. So I have a few left over, and I have this one. I figured that
Uh-oh.
Stranger would probably get excited about this one because it's
Lettuce flavored beer. What is it?
no, it's got a handsome man on it. Is the
Ooh.
Lighthouse Brewing Company Keepers Limited Edition Dry Irish Stout.
Oh!
Nice.
Yeah, I would like that.
Nice.
That
Yeah,
guy looks
exactly.
like that fisherman on the
Three beers and a
on the
whiskey.
frozen fish guy.
You ever seen that movie, The
Fucking
Lighthouse?
guy.
Captain Hindgrinder.
You
No.
ever see that? You ever see that Dave Eggers movie? Not Dave Eggers. What's the guy's name? The Lighthouse. Nobody.
Oh, geez, yeah, I
Fucking
did see
so
that.
good. Love that movie. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, with Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
Did
Sparkle
you like it,
Vampire.
Matthew? The face you made looked like you thought it sucked.
Well,
It's intense.
I don't think I
man.
need to see it again.
No,
It
no.
was a
You only
good
see that
movie.
film once.
It
only
was a
once.
well-done movie.
there a
I'm
shark in
glad I saw it, but it's one that sticks with you, and it's one that is it does what it sets out to do, and not
It
everything,
does.
not every movie
Which is freaking the
intends
fuck
to
out.
make you
Was there
happy
Jaws in it?
and entertained. So,
Was
No.
Jaws in it?
It's not
Yes.
that literal. I mean, yes, lots of weird shit. In any event,
actually,
Weird.
Beaks.
beaks, tentacles,
Mm.
mermaids,
Mhm.
whiskey, and drunk men. It's got everything you need.
And probably
Like a
nutritional
lot of my
deficiencies.
friends.
Nutritional
Oh,
deficiencies,
okay,
of
okay.
course. Lots of scurvy. All right. Well, we've kept you in suspense long enough. I don't think we have any other business necessarily we need to talk to, other than huzzah for us West Coast and some of you Middle America folks. Dead Bob is fucking coming. The
Oh!
train is revving up. Get your tickets
That's
now.
true. Good.
I'm going to 2 shows July, or not July. What the fuck am I talking about? June? Totally stoked. Dragging the kids along. Be fun for the whole family. It's gonna be fucking great. Well, I'm not dragging the
Both kids?
to the second show. Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
cool.
I really want. Yeah, they're all ages shows, which is great. Ash is a burgeoning drummer, and she's been getting more into No Means No. The River's also her favorite song, which thank God.
Oh,
And I think she's going to become a fan for life after she witnesses
she
John
fucking
Wright
sees
play the drums.
Yeah,
Because she's already amazed just hearing it. When she actually
Yeah.
sees the fury, it's over in a
Yeah.
good way.
mhm.
So I'm really looking forward to ruining her in that sense.
And he'll have his Devo shirt on and his pants. He's gonna
Fuck
look
yeah.
good. He's gonna
So
look good.
we're gonna dive right into this shit because it's been quite a while. I don't think we got any other jibber jabber to talk about. So, and I'm not drunk enough for more jibber jabber yet. So we're gonna talk about round 1.
I don't think we got the order down.
Oh, sorry,
No problem.
you're first this time, Matthew.
Oh shit. Okay.
So surprise!
Rolf laughing in the
Rolf
back.
Rolf is enjoying his suffering. So Matthew gets to talk about this first round first, then I'll talk about the second round second, and then we got everyone remembers the drill. You've been listening long enough, and if you haven't, well, go back and listen to those first. So round 1. Whew. All right, we are putting Red Devil. You heard me. I said Red
He said
fucking Devil off of Mama, 1982. Now, Red Devil won against Sex is Philosophy off of episode 27. That was unanimous, which I think we'd all agree. We'd probably still stand behind that choice, correct?
Yep.
Yep. Very good.
I don't even remember what Sex's Philosophy sounds like. You'd have to.
It's a good song. It's on that.
I
it's
know
on
all
that,
of their songs, but I can't remember the way it goes.
It's on that. What's the name of that EP?
Oh, the generic shame.
Generic Shame. Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a good song. It's not my favorite on that EP, but it's a good song.
Wow.
Anyway, Red Devil won against that, episode 27, unanimous. It's going up against Joy off of 3 things: Worldhood of the World as Such, In the Fish Tank, and also purely instrumentally on the 0 + 2 = 1.5 sessions that Andy released joyously to the world. So this was clearly a song bouncing around in the Andy era, or late Andy era, finally recorded by the brothers twice in joyful, joyous, quite different renditions. So Red Devil versus Joy. Before we get our joy beak wet in the depths of hell, we're going to take a quick pause and we're going to hear some snatches of these tunes.
Joy, 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 joy,
flight, I arise from the muck, a prince of cups. Thou shalt not kill, and this is my will. Arise and kill.
All right, the artificial pause is over. Matthew, what do you got for us on these suckers?
Not a whole heck of a lot in some
Right.
ways, just because joy. I mean, what are you going to say about joy? Joy is short. Joy is joyful, and
Oh, wait, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Whoa.
I forgot to say what it won
happened?
against, and I think this is kind of
Oh.
funny.
Oh, okay.
Joy won against Love Thing in episode 11 with Michelle as the dissenter.
Fucking
And I
course.
listen, I have to say,
Uh,
I would take my vote back
Me
if
too.
I could.
yeah. What the
I
fuck
would
were you
not-
thinking?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm gonna come after you in the next round on twice. But I'll give you this one.
Holy
'Cause-
shit, boys.
I don't know what I was thinking. I think I must have been deep in the whiskey on that one.
Could
So
be
my
that.
apologies.
And sometimes I might have been deep in the piss that I was taking.
It could have been. It could
Oh, okay.
maybe voted behind you. But in any event, I'm sorry, Love Thing. You're an
Yeah.
awesome song, and
Jesus.
here we are talking about joy. So anyway, sorry, Matthew.
I didn't
that was
mean
rude.
actually literally being outside the garage taking a piss, but maybe a bit. I was voting just to
He
annoy
was
somebody.
he was bald
I
winging.
never do that. No, I never do that.
No, you never bald wing. That's called bald winging. All right. Go ahead, sir. Sorry to
Although
sorry
when
for
I am
that
taking a piss, I am also bald winging.
Okay. All right.
Whoa!
now,
Full
let's,
circle. Swoosh. No net. Look
Yeah,
at that.
well done.
Holy shit.
So speaking of bald wings, there's one in almost the first.
God.
There's almost in this maybe the first stanza of Red Devil. It's a song
Oh yeah.
about the hidden, barely restrained devil within, I think. And I think that is very much referred to by his reference to Rob's reference to the Prince of Cups,
Oh.
which is from the tarot. And I looked up what he means, and we probably did get into this in the original.
Oh yeah. I went deep into the
discussion of
tarot
this.
shit last time.
But basically, he is a guy who looks all happy and smiley, but has a lot of repressed rage and emotion.
That sounds like Rob in general.
Well, hey.
But it's that, if he can keep this in check and keep it in balance, that he actually can be very, very productive. So it is
Right.
kind of, I understand why that might have resonated with Rob.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But just want to get the lyrics up here again. It is definitely that duality and that sort of barely reined in monster. It comes up so often, especially in early No Means No. Maybe it's like Proto Slade, something like that. But let's see, the lyrics very much in line, as I said, with a lot of the other songs on Mama. A lot of songs about monsters, and
True.
I think this is
Oh.
kind of a theme for a bunch of the songs. I mean, not Joy, but the rest of the songs. It's always some stuff about hidden worlds and hidden violence, and all the songs kind of have that a little bit in common, where there's just something barely held in check. And I think that's definitely what this is about. Although maybe it is let out. Not quite sure whether it's internal or external, because it's pretty literal in some ways. But then you've run out of screams, you've scattered the deck. I'm not sure whether that again refers to the tarot, where you are shuffling it and then to snatch it back up to you. So your fortune is really, really undetermined. Something like
Yeah.
that.
It's the first time I've ever heard these words.
There's so much fucking tarot. Well, no, it's not. I went balls deep about the tarot on my first
Well, I know, but
rendition of
like,
talking about
I
this.
don't. Now this is the second time then that I'm hearing the
But
words.
no, you're totally right. The scattered the deck part, which also reminds me of like flipping over a card table in
Yeah.
anger. Like there's so many. It's so resonant.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Flame and
Yep.
steam and the blush of lust, but then the monster's asleep. Don't make too much noise. Yeah, it's really just so barely restrained,
Yeah.
lack of control, just barely controlled. And I guess in some ways, Joy has a little bit in common with that. It is just a unrepentantly song about joy. I think that's really all it is. And it matches with the lyrics and the music, because it is a joyful sounding song. It is in very, very happy keys, and it only has one lyric, which is great.
Yeah.
And in the Fish Tank version, I think they were having a hell of a lot of fun. It's almost like a ska version of,
Yeah.
and I think that it is exactly what it is. I don't know that there's any tongue in cheek behind Joy at all. And in a lot of Nomizo songs, you might expect to find that, but I think Joy is earnest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good way of putting it, for sure.
Yeah.
I like that you can hear Tom singing. That's always fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Distinctly hear the Tom voice. But the performance, it's very, very united. I like that about it. It doesn't, not a lot of
united, yeah.
off on their own, not a lot of solos, just playing together because it's fun. And I like that about it. Red Devil, it is really a demonstration of just what two dudes can do.
Fuck.
It is in a dark, sweaty room, and there's a monster in there with you. And,
This song is
Jordan,
sexy
man.
as fuck.
Short in your
Yeah.
face.
It's the lyrics and the music really, really match up. Even some of the effects, like it's kind of like a shitty teak recorder or Tascam or
But
whatever
how the
it was.
fuck did they get this out of that?
I know.
Out of that recorder?
Wow, it's magic.
Sometimes it sounds
amazed.
echoey and crappy, but it's totally like suits the song.
Anyway. I'm gonna keep my powder dry on this
Jesus
fucking.
Christ.
Yeah. It has a ritualistic feel to it, and some of my I love the vocals. Or sometimes he's very sweet in his pre-nodule Rob voice.
Yes.
And then growls as well, which is probably what caused the nodules. Who knows?
I was gonna say this
Well,
song is
he had to
solely
give it up.
responsible
Well,
for those
Yeah.
fucking
There's
nodules.
a lot
Was
of
it worth
howling
it?
and growling and screaming, straight up screaming. I don't
And
think he was
shaking and taking.
capable of making that sound with his vocal cords after much longer after this. High points for me. Some of the sound effects, things that sneak in. There's bells. I mean, it's not actual bells. It's probably just from cheesy synth bells, but they sound good. They sound
They sound
Yeah.
really good.
weird and a little warped,
Yes.
like which is
Yeah.
cool. And I don't know what he is hitting in place of a snare, but it sounds violent. Whack! Like there's a couple of
Yes.
places where it is not a snare drum, but it's.
Or it's a snare with but I wouldn't. What effects would they have at this time?
I don't think
I don't.
Fucking
snares
towel. You
on
put
the
a
bottom,
towel
like
over
the
it.
little
Maybe.
chain thing on the bottom, is
Oh,
in
yeah.
play at all. It's just it sounds like a wet leather strap or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's nothing rattly in any of the drums here. They're just
No.
fucking except
yeah.
for the really the high
The hollowed out.
chinas and all that shit. But holy shit. Anyway.
If there's any low point to me, it's that it's probably on purpose, but it goes, it changes between the whole song. I think is mostly in a major key, but it seems like maybe it should be a bit more minor given what the song is about or the feel of the song. But sometimes it sounds a little too bright and happy, and it's a little inconsistent for me. But maybe it's just like letting the light into that dark room. Who knows?
That's interesting. I have a comment on that. I'll save it. But yeah, I think I can see what you're saying on that.
High points in Joy are just the joy of it, and how happy they sound to be playing together, especially on the ska version, I would think. Low point is that it's a bridge, and it's short, and it feels like it needs something before it, or definitely something after it. And I love the bike bell.
Yeah.
I like that there's that unifying. There's a bike bell, and then like more of a church bell kind of sound in Red Devil.
Yes. Bells everywhere.
Bells.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And on the in the Fish Tank version, they're playing so fast that they're very, very atypically for a No Means No song. It might be that they can't quite hear each other, and the equipment isn't quite geared up or something like that. But they're a little out of sync. I don't know whether it's the mastering, but it's a little racy here and there.
Huh.
Yeah.
But like it's like all good ska, it's just about to fall apart. That's what
That's
I love
true.
about it. It's kind of like it's pushing it so far past the line that it's just about to shake loose, but it never quite does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Great.
very different versions of the two versions of Joy. I don't know which one I prefer.
3 different versions. Any
Yeah, right.
comments
I
are great.
didn't listen to the one that
yeah.
is
It's the
melded
proto
in
Joy.
with other things.
Proto Joy, yeah.
Proto Joy.
Which I mean, that's just literally a bridge, right? Like so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's everything I got to say.
All right, Michelle, you're up.
Okay. If this pair up isn't apples to oranges, I don't know what is. Okay, so there might be some comparisons
donuts.
in the delivery or the intensity. Joy is a really concise interlude that pops up and that pops. I think the song pops, and it's filled with some great drum lines and hard guitars. They're kind of not changing it up much, but the song still sounds interesting to me. Maybe if it was longer than 1 minute 42 seconds, I would think otherwise. So yeah, I listened to the very abbreviated one since you guys are talking about. It's a positive song without being too gushy, and maybe it's because they're just keeping it simple lyrics wise. I'd be rather interested in the origins of this, as it's a bit not like them. I just where'd this come from? Did somebody just get engaged or something? I don't know.
I think kind of like Happy Bridge. It's like a fun bit of music that they were fucking with, and they like because they put that with Happy Bridge in that medley.
Yeah,
It's
that's right.
part of that medley. And so I bet it was just like this fun little musical, but they didn't know what to do with. And then
stuff.
Rob and John were like, let's pull that shit out and shout
Yeah,
joy
makes
over it.
sense.
Like hey, we got a song. It's a great
Yeah.
opener.
Yeah,
That would be my guess.
Yeah, fun stuff. Yep. Okay, Red Devil. Again, I implore you to go to your YouTubes and seek out the Satan in Prison versus No Means No. Holy shit.
Fuck yes.
I know they made
Definitive.
next to no videos, but whomever had the brains and to marry this short silent film to this song needs to be commended. It's pretty hard to come up with things to say about this song other than Jesus fucking Christ on a bike. And even that's hard to say when your jaw's hitting the floor. The sick groove of this song, along with Rob's colossal bass work and vocal delivery, are some top shelf work, and I defy someone to even allude that they don't like it.
Preach.
Two guys, and you
Two
get
fucking
this.
guys.
Yeah.
You kidding me with this shit?
If this
outta
doesn't knock your socks off, you don't even get this band,
You're
and
not
I
wearing
feel sorry
socks.
for you.
Yeah.
There is so much grooves and substance in this, and it sounds like one of life's elements. It should be a vitamin or some shit. Eat it, drink it, and shove it up your ass and make it part of you.
Call it stinky.
And Rob,
Yeah.
deflowering his own dewy young voice.
His own dewy young voice. So, yeah, man.
Okay. That's all I'm saying. That's your turn.
All right. I'll just carry on with the love on this. I also am going to start with Joy because it's short and sweet. I love the song. I think it's fun as hell. Great opener for Worldhood. I thought I was super stoked I remember putting on that album, hearing that. Fucking loved it. I think it's a great little Moosh boost. It leads right into Humans. Fucking great, right? Like it's a great pairing with that. For me, in the Fish Tank version has become the definitive version. I think the song was meant to be a ska song, and I love that they just went full ska with it. I just adore it. I think it's fantastic. Fantastic. Was always great live. Every time I heard it live, it was fun as hell. It's a joyous, crowd-pleasing, mosh pit inspiring fun, right? Like it's one of their songs that has yes, the lyrics are joy, but the music itself is joyous. It's unironically joyous, which is nice. You don't get a lot of that from them. So I think it's wonderful to have such a consummate example of that from them. And then we have Red Devil, which is one of the best songs ever fucking recorded by anybody ever. And I'm sorry, but this is top shelf S tier, No Means No, that should go all the way to the end of this show. I don't think it's the winner, but it needs to like be in that final muscly group because fucking hell, there are artists. I feel like this about myself and all the art I did when I was younger. Sometimes when you're young,
don't telegraph it, Jordan.
I know you burst out this shit that is as good as it's going to get. Meaning like, yeah, you get better over time, but sometimes you just bust out with something that's like, well, that was as good as we're ever going to do.
How they hook you.
And this song for me for sure is the best on Mama by light years. I love
Yep.
that whole album, but by light years.
Yep.
And Jesus Christ, this song is so good. Starts off 6/4 time, busts into 4/4. The bells being out of sync with the guitar in the begin, with the bass in the beginning rather, and then syncing up, and just everything about this song is fucking gorgeous. And lyric wise, yeah, I mean, Matthew, I agree with what you're talking about. I think this is a song about that barely repressed and the power of that kind of infernal, not in the literal sense, but just that like generative infernal force, life force in us, the sexual force, the unbridled sexual force. And in the tarot, there's the devil card, there's the Prince of Cups cards. There's other tarot references in this as well. I'm not going to go over them all again. Matthew did really well explicating those, and I went deep into that the first time, and I don't want to redo all those notes. You can go listen to episode whatever that was, 27, I think, to hear all my shit again. But those are meant to represent universal forces. This is one of those songs to me that's representative not of the personal, but of the universal. This is really talking about how those forces play us and how we are played by them and how we can use them. And I think one of the things I caught around this time was first of all, he talks about the hammer, right? The hammer, which there's definitely a reference. There's definitely a Nietzsche reference in there. Nietzsche talked about the hammer, using the hammer of philosophy, but also he talks about flame and steam. Like there's just the sense of being forged, of this force being something that forges you.
Forged in hell.
Right. But it's this fine line, right? It's like, thou should not kill. This is my will. Rise up and kill. This is my will. It's like both sides of it. That force can go to either side. It can be, and like the tarot, it can be face up or it can be face down. They mean different fucking things. This song is deeply, deeply inspired by the tarot. I would die on that hill. There's so many references to it. And just divination, the idea of, you scattered the debt, or you scattered the deck, but there's also these other references I can't remember right now that were very much like scattering and casting. You're shaking and breaking and cast all about. Well, you cast like divination rods for the I Ching and these other things, like
Bones.
and you're cast
Throw the bones,
and often you cast when you're doing forging. You cast something to forge it, right? So there's all of these double meanings in the lyrics that are really bringing up this sense that this is not talking about the devil in the usual sense. It's talking about the devil in the sense of the tarot, which is a sense of that primal energy that one can harness that can get out of control, but when harnessed or tapped into is the source of one's generative creative power, right? It's a very foundational, powerful force as a human being.
Are you a Satan worshiper? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, if you want to be real literal about it, no. It has nothing to do with the real devil. That's the good part of this.
Yeah.
Although hail Satan. And I musically, this song is fucking balls. I just am I'm blown away by this song. I could listen to this like 1,000 times in a row. The shit Rob does with his voice in this. Someone on I think the not our Facebook group, but another message group the other day was posting a question. They said, "There's so many great screeches and squeals and screams in No Means No. What has the best one?" It's fucking Red Devil. If you don't say Red Devil has the best screams, you've lost the argument. You're not a fan. This has the best screams I've heard in any song. Fuck you, Black Sabbath. Fuck you, early metal. This song was more metal. Put this up against anything any of those 70s, 80s bands, early bands did, and this would wipe the fucking floor with every single one of them. This is more menacing, more sexy, more hardcore, smarter than anything else in that genre that was put out at that time. Holy shit.
And it's at the end, the bass is kind of pulling out and it's got this fucking tribal drum shit going on.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
Makes your hair stand up.
The drumming, the way, and Matthew, you talked about how they were using really primitive equipment in this, but they used it exquisitely. They knew its strengths and they knew its flaws, and they played to the flaws. They made the flaws part of the engineering. They made the flaws part of the song and leaned on them. to get those effects. At the very end, like you have the bass just doing that like right? Because it's totally overblown and it's perfect. It's perfection. It's absolutely what's needed at that moment. This is a masterpiece of vocal delivery. It's a
Yes.
masterpiece of drumming. It's a masterpiece of lyricism. It's a masterpiece of engineering. It's just a fucking masterpiece.
So
This
what's your vote?
song is absolutely unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me that this song
Yeah.
existed in 1982. There's plenty of great music before this, but it's outrageous to me that this is not one of those songs that people were like, well, fuck, in the 80s, we had Red Devil, right? Like, I mean, come on. Like, yeah, we had Duran Duran, but fuck that. Like, look at
Oh
this.
God.
Look at this. I mean, I could talk about this song all fucking day, but I won't.
I think it sounds a little like Devo too, in a
Oh, sure.
in a good way, like without the keyboards.
And Matthew, one of the things you talked about was how it's not quite in a minor key. What I love about this is anytime there's anything that's not in a minor key, there's either Rob is a little off key on purpose, or there's something else that's a little off key, not minor, but off key. And it plays against the major elements of it in a way that makes it feel uncanny and off in the right way to me the whole time. They're never in the pocket with the being in a major key. It's there, but there's something else that's pulling it down into a way that's very interesting and very intentional. And it sets up a frisson in me that's more energizing than if it were in a minor key.
Yeah,
because it's something that makes me feel
It's a little uncanny.
It's uncanny. It pulls me apart in a way
You gotta
that's
work
not like,
harder to do
oh, I'm
that.
settling in the pocket of a minor key song. It's more like, what the fuck is what's happening to my brain? Oh fuck! It's the same way. It's like when it starts off and the bells are out of sync with the bass. It's that same thing. It starts you off with this like, shit, I can't get my arms around this.
Where are we going here?
Where are we going? But oh man, I'll tell you where it's going. Straight to my heart is where this song is going. So,
Down straight into your pants.
favorite parts,
crawling deep.
Favorite parts. 2/3 of the way into Red Devil, when Rob starts with his and he releases the most primal scream in the world. And then he starts screaming, raise your hand and kill. This is my will. Raise your hand and kill. And then starts screaming, the hammer, I mean, that whole part is so fucking cathartic. Jesus Christ. That's like 60 seconds of perfect music. It's I just get every hair on my body stands on end when that part comes out.
Too.
My pubes, I'm talk about your cock is erect, your tongue sticking out. Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah, pop a boner every time I
don't
hear
even
this
have
song.
one. I grew one.
Everyone gets a boner. Everyone gets no one's spared when they hear Red Devil.
Right.
So that part is without the last, I guess, third of this song is my favorite part. I think it's incredible. The rise at the end where it's just everything's coming in louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder, and then just cuts into Mama's Little Boy, which is a great way to cut into it. It's chef's kiss 1,000 times with the demonic spittle behind it. A+. A+ for Red Devil. So let's go to round 2. Matthew.
I have the lyrics up here in front of me, and I forgot that I wanted to talk about this.
Yes.
This one little line. Blue-eyed creep, dig your hands in deep, crawl in, crawl in, crawl in, crawl in deep. But then your dreams are wet, and then you forget.
Oh,
there's that that disgusting sliminess. That's it, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
super gross, and
right.
you're unconscious, and the monster's asleep. We forget that.
Yep.
It's in all of us. Is it representative? Yes, in ways. It's certainly memorable, and I think it's like super important, as you were saying. I don't know whether it's my favorite song off of Mama, but it is one of them.
Yeah.
When I told my neighbor that I do this podcast, I probably mentioned this last time, but he was interested because he's from Vancouver, old punker, played in bands and stuff, but he remembered a little story. He's like, people have been talking about No Means No, and I went and I didn't know anything about them. And he says, where's the guitarist? When's the guitarist going to show up? And it was the song. He's like, it was Red Devil. when I realized, oh, it's just going to be the two of them, and
Yeah.
they don't need anybody
And
else.
they don't need anybody else.
No.
As for representative, Joy, Stranger, you said, it doesn't. It's a bit unlike them. So it is unlike them.
I think so.
Knowing that they are capable of appreciating. Like, I think Joy is like, walk out on your porch and
Yeah.
see a sunny day and just it's just it's about the simple joys.
Yeah.
No,
It's cracking a
that's
beer
good
at the
point.
end of a day, or sitting on your porch. Yeah.
Simple joys. But as for representative, maybe not
Podcasting with
so
friends.
much. Red Devil, I think it's important. It's one of the most memorable early songs, so definitely important in their body of work. Joy, again, maybe less so, just because it's Fragment.
Yep.
And would I introduce a newbie? Definitely for Red Devil, and I am glad that Joy is the first song on Worldhood. I think that if I were going to play, that isn't the album that I would choose most of the time to introduce somebody to No Means No, but I think it's a good lead-in to that album and maybe to No Means No in general, but it's certainly not the first song that I would play for a newbie. Yeah.
For a newbie, right.
With the Chet rule, which of these would you do for a newbie?
Red Devil.
Yeah. That's the right answer. In this instance, there is a right answer. That's the right answer.
Yeah. Even just to show what two dudes can do.
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
if you just said to somebody, "This is what they started out with."
Yeah. Michelle, how about you, round two? Representative, oeuvre.
No, I'm
newbie.
just kidding. I just got thinking about the music.
I know. It's
You know,
hard
I'm
not to,
thinking
right?
about making one of those reaction videos.
Yes.
Everybody's been talking about that bass reaction video the guy finally did, but I was like, what if we did it? What if I put the pause button? Holy shit, did you just hear that? I don't know. All right, anyways.
Isn't it? Wait, our whole fucking podcast is a reaction video.
I know, but wouldn't it be kind of fun to play the song and pause it like, oh my God. Rewind.
You know what? Let's table this for after the show, but we should talk about this. This could be an interesting little
a little round 3, but it'd be a nightmare for you, Jordan.
No, we'll talk about it.
Okay. Okay, are these examples Joy? Yeah, I do think this is a good example of their work. It's short, it's simple, it's hard, and it's full of fury. It's a good romp around the pit, and hopefully everybody's behaving themselves. But I do like the interstitial, like we mentioned before with Happy Bridge. Like I didn't kind of put those together, but I do like that, and it just kind of gives you a little glimpse into their like, we're humans. We like to feel good, don't you? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, Red Devil, OPPFFFT. This is the patient zero of all monumental No Means No songs. This is where it all started. Both Rob and John are pillars in this, but if you don't have a full-on boner for what Rob's laying down, I fear for your soul. I found a video of them playing this the first time I ever saw them.
Oh.
It was at a venue called Tramps. I have the poster in the other room in New York City. The gig was on Thursday, October 12th, 1995. There were 2 drummers.
Yep. Fuck yeah.
And I seriously
remember.
could have died. I seriously could have died that night. I really could have. Andy, capital M, small c, capital H, posted this video by his friend Barry Riley. And I wrote to him, and I think he told me that Barry, who filmed it in New York City, had passed away.
Oh.
And I know, I would have really loved to have been able to thank him, because that was one of the most memorable nights of my life. I was living in New York City at the time, and got to see them for the first time, and they played that with 2 drummers. That's and I want to thank him for filming that. And the video on YouTube of that venue, it shows it. Thankfully, the guy kept the camera primarily on Rob, and if you see what his left hand's doing on the neck, and then you look at his right with the pick and him singing it, he's out of his fucking mind. It's so good.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a crush on this guy, after you watch it, I mean, he's just a one-man band. It was unreal. It's one of life's treats.
100%. What about the newbie test?
Oh, what I play? Joy? Yeah, I guess so. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Red Devil? Fuck yes. And I don't know why I haven't played it for anybody.
Yeah.
And the chat rule would be
Red Devil.
Red Devil.
We know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing I forgot to say. This is maybe a hot take, a little controversial.
Oh.
This song is always brilliant when it was played live. I think I saw it on that same tour when I was in San Francisco, 2-drummer tour.
1995.
Yeah. Although maybe it was the tour before that in California that had 2 drummers because it was the Mr. Happy tour, which was not 95, I don't think. Maybe it was. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Oh, it might have been. That was
this
the
song.
World Hood was 95.
This song isn't totally diminished, but it's billions times better with prepubescent Rob. Rob's vocal range on the recorded version its song is not the same with low tone Rob. It's not. It's great. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. But there's something about the quality and tone of Rob's voice in this recording that adds so much to the song for me. But that's just my own fucking take. So, representative No Means No as a whole. Joy. I mean, yes, in a way. What I think is representative of this is that it shows that they can they can be such a heavy band, or at least you can perceive them as such, that they do have these times where they set all this down and go, just fucking enjoy this shit.
Yeah.
Here's some really kick-ass music, and we can show you the literal joy of what it means to just fucking be amazing musicians.
Yep.
But they doled that out sparingly. And so there's, so it's representative of a niche of theirs, but not overly representative necessarily. Red Devil, I think, like you said, Michelle, I think it's a
Patient
DNA
Zero.
It's a DNA sample that
what I
got
said.
cloned. That yeah, exactly. It is Patient Zero. It carried forward. I think almost more than most of the songs on Mama. It showed what they were going to be capable of and where they were going, in a way that I think matches almost anything they did from there on out. Maybe they got more refined or whatever, but the rawness, the raw talent and creativity and everything else in it that you see in so many other ways in so many later songs. All of that is in evidence here in incredibly erudite ways that don't lean on fancy production tools. They had shit.
Right.
And yet they made made absolute magic through their raw talent and passion. Even pre-Andy, right? To me, this is where when people talk about the Andy era, which I absolutely agree had a special magic, there's a magic in Rob and John that continued on after. And if you can't hear that here and appreciate how that continued after the Andy era, I don't know, man, you got more discovering to do. You got treasures waiting for you because it was there before he joined and it was there after he left. And there was a special juice when he was there, hands down. You cannot deny No Means No had a special juice when Andy was there that they lost. But there was a different special juice that was there before and remained after.
It's the two pieces of bread in the sandwich.
That's right, and it's just fucking gorgeous. I think so. I think it's very representative of their oeuvre, and I think it's one of the pinnacle early examples of their genius. So, and I think it's important, right? I don't think Joy is important. I think it's a great song. I don't think it's important in their oeuvre. I think Red Devil is absolutely important. I think it's a milestone that shows that they're an important band, capital I.
I think you can be a well-rounded No Means No fan and not have heard Joy, but maybe not have heard Red Devil, and maybe you're missing a piece or two.
That's right. Yeah. If you happen to be someone out there who's listening right now and is not really familiar with Red Devil, please fucking go listen to it. Pull up that Devil, No Means No versus the Devil YouTube that Michelle's talking about, because this song is off the fucking charts.
What's it called?
Newbie, same as everyone else.
Satan in Prison.
Satan in Prison
versus No Means No.
Yeah, go do that right now. Pause the podcast and go listen. Everyone should just pause the podcast. I'm going to pause the podcast and go listen to it right now. Newbies, same as everybody else. I would definitely play Red Devil for somebody. I haven't, like you, Michelle, strangely.
Yeah.
And Joy, I wouldn't not play it, but I wouldn't skip it if it came on like a mixtape.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't seek it out. This would never be a song I would seek out. It's not, I mean, it's great, but it doesn't say enough to me about the band. So there's that. All right. Well, now we get to this is going to be such a hard choice. I'm really nervous about this. Matthew, you get to vote first. What's it going to be?
God.
Well,
don't you?
Who can say no to an erect cock?
Oh my god!
Ooh,
Oh!
my tongue's in the cup.
I don't know. If you saw Rob's during this, you'd be tempted.
Rolf's back there.
Well, even if you say no to somebody else's, you very rarely say no to your own. So.
That's right. That's right.
No, it's Red Devil, hands down, and cocks out.
Hands down, cocks out. Michelle, how about you?
Yes, I'll take the cocks and the Red Devils and the head. Yes.
Unanimity. Unanimity.
Yeah.
3 for Red Devil. I will also third Red Devil.
Third it.
The Holy Trinity for this evil masterpiece. Red Devil easily slides past home. And Joy has taken a probably unearned victory lap to even be here against Red Devil.
Which one, Peanut Gallery?
What do you think?
Your Peanut Gallery. What's Peanut Gallery?
It's totally mood dependent.
It's bullshit. Come on.
What?
You guys keep talking about the importance of songs.
Yep.
And sometimes songs just sound better. And if I'm in a good mood, I like Joy.
Well, all right.
Anyway, moving on
put
to
you into
opinions that matter. No, just kidding.
Oh, shit.
No, listen, I absolutely understand that. I absolutely understand. What's interesting to me about these songs are Red Devil is a very, when I'm in a good mood, this song makes me in a better mood, right? Which is strange. And Joy kind of does. It doesn't last long enough for me to really get me there, I think. I need some long lovemaking. These little minute and a half songs aren't enough
One of those.
to really do it. But I hear what you're saying. And I think that's what's wonderful about Joy is that it is a song that they offer that is uncomplicated, which I think is beautiful. And that is something that at a certain point is going to hit you better, right? It's going to suit the mood better to just crack open a beer. I don't need to think about the existential depths of humanity.
I gotta say, just on that point about importance, you guys have set yourself a Sisyphean task, right? You're gonna end up with the essence, the most important, the best songs. They can't be junk food. I get it. So I totally understand your thought process. It's just sometimes I like the junk food. That's all.
100%.
Yep.
I like cheese poofs. You gotta do it.
Cheese poofs.
Well, we've done it. Round 1 in the can. So we're going to pull on over to listener submission cul-de-sac. And Matthew, in a moment, is going to read us. I know that was not a good one.
Yeah.
Sorry. He's going to read us an entry. Thank you very much for those who have reminded us of the entries that we missed, because there were some that we missed. So thank you for reminding us. We're now going to start queuing those up again. And Matthew, why don't you, before you read the thing, just give a little reminder to people of what we looking for.
Hey, give us stuff, and then we can read it. We like
That's it.
Send us your stuff. If you send us stuff already, then send more.
Even better, record it yourself.
Yeah, record it yourself. You could do that. Send us those, and if you put it up in Dropbox or need help figuring that stuff out, then just hit us up and we will explain it to you in terms you can understand. Let's hope.
That's right.
As long as you speak English. But probably not listening to this if you don't. So, we like to start off with the sort of questions, and you do not feel bound by this in any way, but your No Means No origin story, where you heard them, if you remember, and tell us that little story, what they mean to you, what they came to mean to you after your origin story, and then if you have a particular anecdote, just share that No Means No related anecdote with us, and those are the icebreakers. But feel free to blather, just like this next fellow has done, oh so deliciously. And since we have
Rolf, the freeloader,
a German speaker, he's not going to do the accent. He tells me, but
that would be disrespectful.
If there are. There may be like city names and stuff in here. Anyway, this fellow's from Germany, and so Rolf will be reading this. I'll get out of the way so that you can sit down and stare at the screen.
Aw, look at us.
And we're gonna do our little do-si-do with
nice shirt, Matthew.
Chords and such.
Turn those headphones round and round.
I am wearing a No Means No shirt, and you guys aren't.
I know.
I got
He's
one.
got the Winston Smith shirt. Oh yeah, she's got
I
dad
got
on.
my dad one.
Matt's got the shirt that came with the book. It's pretty
Yep.
sweet.
It's pretty
Yep.
sweet.
There's lots to read. You could spend the whole evening reading it.
And I have.
So ich kann das im Deutsch lesen oder es geht besser im Schweizerdeutsch, but I think I'll just stick to English. How about it?
Shit.
Thank
Because
you.
it was written in English.
Very well.
Oh my
And I got to
God.
say, the guy who wrote this has a pretty masterful handle on English, and you'll see why. Okay, here we go. Hello, Jordan, Matthew, and Michelle. This story must be told. Okay, not really, but I was thinking about it for quite some time. Before I start, let me tell you that I am from Germany, and that this is my first and only podcast I listen to. So that means, first,
Oh my God.
I am pretty old. 49 years old.
Oh, Matthew.
That's the same age as I am. Jesus. Second, I am still a big No Means No fan. And third, you three are doing a great job, and I will
Thank
second
you.
that. I stumbled across this podcast. He wrote stumbled, so I gotta do the accent. I stumbled across this podcast around last year, looking for some news from No Means No on the internet. I read about the book project from Jason Lamb and about your podcast. So I started with your first episode, worked myself through every episode, and finally could catch up. See, he's punning. It's amazing. And because you still asked listeners to write anything No Means No related, I thought, okay, what the... Jason, you could fill in a word that comes in your head.
Fuck.
By the way, for my kids, 13 and 15, this is the strange podcast that their dad listens to in the kitchen while preparing dinner about his favorite band, where everything is fucking fucked.
Shout out to the kids.
All right.
So, okay.
Jordan.
Fuckers.
Okay. Where the fuck should I start?
Oh God.
In the early days, a lot of music I was listening to came from my older brother. He was into hard rock and some punk music like the Ramones, the Sperm Birds, my first concert, and of course the Dead Kennedys. So naturally, I was into Jello Biafra and all his stuff. About that time, I must have been around 17 years old, I had a friend in school who also liked alternative music, and he asked me for some interesting bands. So I introduced him to the Dead Kennedys and Jello Biafra. A few weeks later, he asked me if I knew the collaboration between Biafra and No Means No. Yes, I said. Why? At that time, my interest was mostly on Biafra and not so much on the band he was collaborating with. Why? He said. Because that's the real shit. You have to listen to that band. And so I did. I bought myself Live and Cuddly because I thought, okay, it's like a best of live album. If I like that, I can go on.
Yeah, you did.
And I did go on. But I have to admit it wasn't love at first sight or listen. The music was so different from everything else. It overwhelmed me for sure. I mean, you listen to the Ramones, the Dead Kennedys, etc., and you get it pretty fast. But this music, I mean, for me, it took quite some time, and it still does. And that's one thing why I think their music is so great. It has no expiring date. So even though I didn't get it at first, I listened to that album over and over again. I had to. Of course, I love the power and the aggressiveness, but it were songs like Metronome or Dark Ages that got me hooked. Not to mention that I bought all their albums which were released to that time and love them all till this day. But back to my friend from school who gave me the advice I needed. I remember visiting him one day. He had painted in his room a huge alternative tentacles logo on his wall, and we were listening to 0 + 2 = 1, looking on the album and the booklet, the few pictures, and we exactly said to ourselves Michelle's words, who the fuck are these guys?
Yeah.
I mean, what do they look like?
Exactly.
These two old guys smiling at the camera, playing Scrabble with their parents or grandparents? Are you kidding me? Serious? These are the guys playing that kind of music? And who is this third guy, this mysterious guitar player? All these questions. Until that point, it must have been 1993, we have never seen them live. And rumors going around that they broke up or that this mysterious guitar player has left the band. I mean, at that time, it was hard to get on information. So because I was a little bit terrified that I will never see them playing live, I decided to write them a letter asking them to play in my hometown, Lübeck, in northern Germany. I knew at that time that they played here before, and a few years later, they actually did play here again. but I'm pretty sure not because of my letter. But this concert came later. The first time I saw them live was in Berlin. It must have been around 1994. It's a 3.5-hour drive from my hometown, and we were pretty excited to get the chance to see them live. At that time, I created my own No Means No fan t-shirt. I painted No Means No in the black and white letters, like on the wrong record, on my shirt.
Yeah.
I found myself pretty exclusive with this shirt. So I was standing in front of the club SO 36 in Berlin, waiting to get in. While beside me on the road, there parked a van. I looked over to the van, and at that moment, the back door of the van opened, and
God.
John looked right at
Jesus
me.
Christ walked out.
At that point, of course, I wasn't sure that this is John Wright, but after the concert I was, and I told myself, okay, he saw your cool self-made DIY shirt, and of course, he knew immediately that you are fan number one. That concert was the first. Until the end of 2012, I must have seen them playing live around 15 to 20 times. I stopped counting. Of course, in my hometown, in the town I am living now for over 20 years, and all around Germany, luckily all roads lead to Ausfahrt.
Yeah.
Needless to say that they are the greatest live band I have ever seen, and that I often was standing in the front row in big or small clubs, feeling quite familiar with them over the years, although I never spoke to them, always too shy.
Oh, wow.
Just once, I talked to Tom at the merchandise, telling him that I also loved to see him with his show business giants, which I sadly never did. At that point, I also mentioned to him that in 1998, I saw them playing in a real small club in Tromsø, Norway. This concert was extra special for me because I was on a hiking trip in Norway with my best friend. I can't remember how we found out that they were playing in Tromsø, but of course, we decided to go there. My brother was also doing a trip through Norway at that time, and he showed up as well. So we were at this small club, more or less a bar, and John or Rob, I can't remember, was sitting at the bar chatting with some people. Me, with hiking shorts, feeling like a Boy Scout who got lost. The concert then was so intimate because it has this living room atmosphere. On the next day, we came from the camping ground, walked across this huge bridge into town, and while we were walking over the bridge, a white van came toward us. And I can't recall who exactly was driving and who sat in front, but there was the greatest band ever in this little van coming from this little town in Norway looking directly at us. And like in Berlin, right before my first concert, I told myself, okay, they looked straight at us, and they knew immediately that we are three crazy, stupid fans from Germany. So that's fucking it. The question, what No Means No means to me, I still can't answer it or articulate it well enough. For me, it's difficult to talk about music because I got no musical knowledge at all. At that point, I am always happy about the thing Frank Zappa said. Writing about music is like dancing about architecture. So maybe that's one of the reasons I like listening to your podcast, because you three are trying to get to the bottom of it, trying to find out what makes this band and their music so great, so unique, and why they are still so important to so many people. Thanks for your good work, and please keep on trying, even though you never get to the bottom and you will never find the answers, because no means nothing.
Oh,
Greetings,
shit.
yours, Christian, Heidelberg, Germany.
Fucking
Wicked.
hell, man. That's why
Love
we do
it.
this show
Thanks,
for
Rolf.
shit like that.
Exactly.
Also, Rolf, you should
Yeah,
be in
that was
radio,
awesome.
for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. Christian, holy shit. That was
Yeah.
incredible. That is incredible.
Totally.
That's my favorite part of the show is listening to what
I
people have to
know.
say.
Yeah. Send in more of them, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, man. And, don't feel, I have a feeling, because we've got so many good ones that people are intimidated. You probably think you can't do it as well.
Oh, right. Yeah.
All you need to do is sit down and just blather what you feel. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be erudite. It doesn't have to be witty. We all really care about this band. You care about this band if you're listening to this. And so if you're listening to this and you care about this band, I reckon you have something to say. And you should just say it. We want to hear it.
I came to the gig, I saw the gig, and I liked it.
Christian, that
And
was
say
fucking
that.
amazing.
If you have a preference as to which of us to read it, then
Except
let
for
us know.
Rolf. He's not always available, but now
No,
all of
he's
you are going to
not.
want Rolf, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's a lawyer, so he's very good at convincing people of things.
That's right. That's right.
His voice.
Well, that was fucking incredible. Does anybody need
Yeah.
a pee break before we continue to round two?
I don't. Gentlemen?
Okay, surprisingly.
I'm good too.
Wow.
Damn. Well, listen, write it in, record it, send it if you got it. Christian was one of those who we had missed his initial submission, and he resubmitted it to us. So thank you, Christian, for doing that. And if you're one of those people and you haven't, like, there's a couple others that we have queued up. So don't worry if you've reminded us in the last couple months, you're coming. But if you haven't and we missed it, please do remind us because we do want to get every submission on there.
Because we're all in our 50s.
Yeah, exactly. We're not getting any younger and any of us could go at any moment. So we're not going to miss any of them. If you send it to us, it's going on the podcast. Corey, you sent us in some great recordings. Those are coming, buddy. Don't worry. But we're spacing them out. All right. Well, we're an hour into this fucker. Let's see if we can make it hour two. We're going to talk about two more songs. So round two for this episode is This Story Must Be Told, which is great because that's what Christian started his missive with. So great.
All right. Yeah.
Synergy.
That's cool.
This Story Must Be Told off of Dance of the Headless Bourgeoisie, 1998. Now, this one won out against Pigs and Dogs in episode 23 with Michelle dissenting.
That's of course. Yep.
I'm giving you really just withering eyes. And then...
Why?
And then...
What's withering eyes mean?
Because
Like,
what the fuck, are you serious? Anyway.
Yeah, I
then,
still am. I'd still vote the same way.
All right. I 100%
fight?
would never vote for that. No, we already did, I think. So it is going up against The World Wasn't Built in a Day off of the same album, The Dance of the Headless Bourgeoisie, 1998, which won out against Canada Is Pissed. Again, Michelle as the only dissenter. Now, with the last one, I was mildly disapproving. With this one, I am full what the
Guys,
fuck.
I'm just as God made me. Just like from the Spinal Tap movie.
Anyway, judgments be
You're
damned.
just kind of a Canada file, so anytime Canada gets you, oh, I want that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's why I did.
Matthew, would you still stand behind both your votes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's all right. This is what brings the drama. So we're going to pit This Story Must Be Told against The World Wasn't Built in a Day. We're going to take these two kaiju and let them fight in the arena. But first, we're going to hear a little mashup of these movies.
People wandered at the end of their day. I drove to my space on that waterfront, picked up my guitar and started to play. Alone I sang for the people that I knew, for my friends and family, and for them I prayed that no storm would come and sweep them up, that no would bear them away. I sang, your voice from my throat cries, your heart beats in my
So I go first. All right, 2 songs off the same album. That's not often that happens. It's happened before, but it's unusual. So this has been
But by the second round, the math is kind of
Right.
That's
Yeah.
right. A strangely Andy free episode this whole time. So I mean, a little bit of joy, I guess, if you want to count the origins of joy. But these are certainly not Andy influenced. These were not early. These are whole cloth post Andy songs. It's hard to contrast these two for me. They're not similar. They're not similar in sound. They're very different musically. I think they're saying very different things. I think This Story Must Be Told is Rob in his mythos zone, where he's talking very mythologically, and This World Wasn't Built in a Day is perhaps his most personal song. And I put it up there with The River in terms of its themes and some of his other songs, but it's very deeply personal. I think he's even on record as saying this is his most personal song. And This Story Must Be Told is not. This Story Must Be Told is very mythical. It's very archetypal in a way. So we'll start with This Story Must Be Told in the sense, I'll start with the music. I think the music in this is fucking phenomenal. I never got to see this live. I got to hear it in a sound check through a wall, and they never played it in the set. But
That's interesting.
bass line in this is fucking nuts. It's so good, and I wish I could have seen Rob play this live. I think this song is really incredible. It's a great opener on this album. I think in this album, like, I love this opener, and this album has always kind of fallen off for me in the next couple of songs and then picks back up again. I mean, I think the whole album is great, but this is a fucking banger opener. They're always, for the most part, with one notable exception that I won't talk about, I think they always absolutely nail the openings of their albums. And this song is no exception. It's fucking great. And I think what I love about the lyrics of this, because we all know I get obsessed with what these songs are trying to say, is that you can't fully understand this. It resists that. This is one of his mythological songs, kind of like the rape later in this album, which I actually feel like I have a stronger hold on than this one, that resists analysis. It's not immune to it, but it resists it. There's something in this song that feels, at one point, clearly it's about violence. It's about sexual violence on a certain level, on a surface level. I think it's also about how violence turns around and enacts violence on the perpetrator, and that how when you're someone who inflicts violence upon someone else, you do violence to yourself, and that you sully your own soul forever in the act of violence. But I also think there's something here of the eternal feminine in the way that Rob has often turned to in many of his songs. There's this sense of the power of the eternal feminine that is beyond the ability of an individual man to sully. That the man in this song is weak. He tries to attack the woman, and yet he is bested. His soul is torn away. He is ruined for the rest of his life.
Good.
He becomes a hollow shell. And so in his act of violence, he removes his humanity. He loses his humanity. And there's just something in that. This feels in a more kind of erudite way, in the sort of Hunt the She-Beast sort of vein. It's in that you might have to dig a little deeper to mine the feminism in this song, but I think at root it's a feminist song. It's not just about sexual violence. I think that's a framing. There's a lot of nautical stuff in here, Matthew. That's something you brought out before. But I think the lyrics are very interesting and very engaging and really erudite in a very mythical sort of way. And I think the music is fucking incredible. I think the fucking bass line in this is absolutely balls wild. And that last section, right, the purely musical section, is just one of the all-time head-banging greats of when they break into a it's not a bridge, right? It's just like, what do you call that? A completely different section at the end of a song. Is there a musical term for that, Michelle?
Coda.
A coda?
Yeah.
Kind of a coda. Anyway, that part is just incredible. And the way that coda builds, and there's parts stripped away here and there, and then finally gives everything to you at the very end, all the parts all at once, just everything fully turned up, is beautiful and cathartic. And I think it's cathartic in the way that the song is, in the sense that the song is letting you judge the perpetrator, and this ending part is sort of a celebration of the fact that in the final analysis, that's the weaker party, and that you just have this sense of I have this sense of ineffable joy at the power in the end of this song. I think it's so incredible. And World Wasn't Built in a Day is wholly other. It is a Rob song through and through. This is a very deeply personal song. It's slow, it's ponderous, it's thoughtful. It is absolutely a work of genius. I think this song is fucking beautiful. This song is probably my favorite on this album, and it's definitely probably one of my favorite of their late period songs. I think it is an absolute masterpiece. And I'm going to talk some about what the song means to me, because it means a lot to me. But I did talk a lot about it in the last episode. So I don't want to, not last episode, last time I talked about it. So I don't want to necessarily retread all of that. But this is the most personal and almost upfront explication Rob makes of that interrogation of what it means to be a human being in the most deeply existential way that you can interrogate that question. What does it mean to actually be a being in this world? What does it mean to look at another person and wonder, what the fuck is happening with them? What's in me and what's in them? And that sounds, it's one of these, he gets to the root of these questions that sound so basic when you just kind of throw them up against the wall. But Rob has clearly sat and felt these questions in a way that's so deep, and he can communicate them in a way that's so deep that any of us, any of you who felt that stirring on any level, I don't think you can help but be moved by the way he's able to craft this and deliver it to us. And this time listening to the song, I found that it was a labyrinth. And this song is starting from the outside of the labyrinth. It's starting from the city. It's starting from the outside. And it starts with Rob asking that question of, you know, what does it mean to feel free? It means freedom from every attachment I have with every other person, and the joy and horror of that, right? There's that question of that rings throughout this, that spirals in, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute, till the end of the song. But at every point he's asking that question, first of all, what does it mean for me to care about someone else? And what does it mean that the only way I can truly feel free is to be rid of all those attachments, to want both of those things at once, to need someone else, to need other people so desperately, and at the same time want everything in my life to be gone and for me to be the only thing that exists.
Is that like
and to
the
hold
ego and the id or something?
I think
like
it's
that, kind of?
I think it's deeper than that. I don't think it's Freudian.
Oh.
This is very existential. This is very much like, I am a closed container that can know in reality nothing else about anybody else out there. In effect, I can't know that you're real. This is what he's asking. This is what he's getting to. Am I in you? Are you in me? He's asking, are you real? Am I making you up? Or wait, am I not real and you're making me up? At the very root, are you dreaming of me, or am I dreaming of you? In the end, we cannot know the answer to that question. That's the fundamental question. And he's asking that in different ways, in different levels, as he's circling into this labyrinth, closer and closer. And yet also discovering that the only way he can feel free is this fantasy of the removal of everyone else in the world.
God.
And yet the fulcrum of this song, the beautiful fulcrum of this song, is Rob making his way through these streets that he's seen. This is another thing he echoes 100 different ways. I've seen these streets 100 times. I'd seen her face 100 times. These things of this familiarity, but this familiarity that's still filled with absence, that's filled with non-recognition. I didn't know her name. I don't know these people walking the streets. I've been through 100 times, but the only thing that's really existed here is me. The rest of this, often is just fucking behind the wall of my own ego. But the fulcrum of that song is him sitting on that waterfront, taking out his guitar and starting to play.
Oh,
And
Rob.
I am moved to near tears every time I hear that verse. Alone I sang for the people that I knew, for my friends and family, and for them I prayed that no storm would come and sweep them up, that no winds would bear them away. And that whole chorus is so fucking beautiful about he's talked about the need to push everyone away to feel free, and yet this deep longing to actually honestly communicate, no, I need you.
Yeah.
And before I talked about not really understanding what the lyric, but you know what they say, the world wasn't built in a day meant. And now I think I do for myself. I'm not saying this is what Rob meant, but for myself, I know what it meant. It's the main bulwark against solipsism. It's saying, if I look out at the world, it can't just be me. I can't be illusion. Look at this world. This world wasn't built in a day. Everything I see around me wasn't built in a day. Of course I exist in the real world. You know what they say? All of this is not fake, even though inside I can't know if it's true. And so his retreat to that line, which becomes more
solipsistic, anti-solipsistic song.
Exactly. And he gets to that more and more, because it starts off with like driving through the city and then sitting and then meeting this woman who wants to sleep with him. And even when he's talking with that woman, he opens himself up and talks about his father's death. And what does she do? She grabs his dick. That's it. She just grabs his dick.
Don't do that when you're talking about.
And then
death.
he's just like, nope, I can't connect with you either, right?
Right.
And he goes further in, and then he starts talking about his fantasy of being. Then he talks about going to the waterfront and yearning for connection with all of his friends and family. Then the dream of the labyrinth streets. He even says the word labyrinth, wandering the labyrinth streets. He's on his porch. He's closer to home. He's coming closer to home. And where does the song end? The song ends with him lying in bed with his lover, looking at her asleep, watching her dreaming, wondering if he's real or she's real. He starts way out in the wide world and makes this circular journey deeper and deeper and deeper until he's just looking at the one person who means most to him in the world, and quietly whispers this question to us in perhaps one of the most intimate moments that No Means No has ever delivered. And it is so fucking beautiful. The entire journey is so well crafted and so beautifully layered and so beautifully communicated. And the echoes, verse to verse, chorus to chorus, the way that John's snare sounds like a fucking metronome the whole time.
Yeah.
Tick, 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 tick. There's just this watch going time the whole time between it. This watch, this heart. It's not even a heartbeat. It's a watch tick. This just external force behind it. And this feedback, this gnarly guitar feedback, that's just this sense of like the pain, right? That's this, the wanting to push away the noise of the world that you want to escape. You just want to fucking be free of it. But then there's just solitary bass line. The bass line to me is the heart behind the time. Boom,
absolutely.
boom.
Yep.
Bong, bong. It's so beautiful. Tritone. And yes, it's a tritone. And yes, it's ominous, but it's also comforting and beautiful. It leads me deeper and deeper and deeper into this song until I get to the heart of it. You know what they say. You know what they say. And that's it. Like, it's just, fuck, this song is so beautiful. It is a absolute masterpiece of craftsmanship. And I think it's 100% Rob. I don't think any of the rest of the band had much to do with this other than playing what he told them to play.
Yep.
And I think as that, it is a perfect statement of this yearning question that I have deeply felt not my entire life, maybe my entire adult life anyway. When you really sit there and try to interrogate what it means to be a human being in the world, this question that Rob is coming to is at the bottom. How you answer it may be different, but it's a very, very, very honest way to face the world. And Rob doesn't answer the question. He just asks it. Yep. This is what's beautiful about No Means No. They're never trying to provide answers.
Right,
They're trying to deepen the question. They're trying to honestly express to you what the question is. And that's what Rob is doing here. He's sharing the question so honestly and so earnestly and so artfully that you can't help but be drawn to the center of that labyrinth with him. And I just think this song is fucking incredible. So that's it for me on this one. Highlights: the middle of that, the fulcrum where he sits on the waterfront. Like I said, it nearly brings me. I'm not being hyperbolic here. It nearly brings me to tears every time because I think the delivery of it, its timing, its placement is absolutely pitch perfect,
Rob.
and it's fucking gorgeous. Worldhood, the highlights for me are that ending section, the way it builds, the pieces of it come in and out, the way the drum builds, the way the guitars build, the way the bass builds till the end. I think that part is incredibly cathartic and beautiful and fucking headbanging masterpiece. Things that bug me, there's nothing about the Worldhood that bugs me at all. I think it's perfect. I think the mixing.
Worldhood.
I'm sorry, World wasn't built. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I'm deep in my
Sorry.
whiskey
all
at
right.
this point.
Profess.
But the story, the thing that bugs me is the engineering. I don't think it's engineered well, and there are parts of it that I think don't. I think it's not mixed well, and it kind of bugs me. I was talking to Parker about this today, and he kind of agreed. He's like, no surprise, he also agrees that Worldhood is. I'm not Worldhood. That World wasn't built in a day is his one of his favorite, if not the favorite, late period song. But I think the engine. I think the mixing of this story must be told doesn't do it as much favors as it could if it were mixed a little better. That's it. But it's not a huge dent against. It's not something I dislike. It's just the only thing I could think of that irks me a little bit. All right. So, I mean, again, I could probably say a bazillion more things, but I think I said the essence of what I wanted to say. So, Michelle.
Oh, here's me trying to go after you again. Thank you.
Didn't you ask to be in the middle all the time?
Well, yeah, because I say less than you two, but like sometimes it's not easy. It's not easy being me. All right. By the way, I think that statue of the thinker, it should have Rob's head in it. Like
Probably.
what you were saying. Yeah, he's a thinker.
Yeah.
Right?
And a feeler.
Yep. All right.
Maybe
Each
you-
of these pieces have our storytelling. Rob's laying it down. The slower one, which is the world wasn't built in a day, is much easier to follow since it's quite dirgy and slow. The story must be told. Okay. It's hard for me to embrace the beginning of it, and I guess it's because, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I don't like the timbre of the guitar and the bass.
Oh.
There's something
Interesting.
going on that sounds a little plastic.
Ooh. Again, engineering. There's part of what I'm talking about, but it's something different.
I don't know. There's something. No, I don't know if it's engineering. There's like a.
Huh.
I don't know. The riff is kind of noodly too. When the verses start in, though, it takes on a different tone that I like a lot better. It's overall a super catchy song and it flows well. The third instrumental section is always very cool to me, and Rob is playing some super cool sounding arpeggios. I'm not sure if I'm 1,000% down with whatever effect he's got on. He's got an effect on his bass that's not anything I've ever really heard before. I think he does.
Huh.
You mean in
but
the coda of The Story Must Be Told?
Yeah. Yes. There's some weird effects on his bass.
It sounds very 90s to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're all kind of poking at that. Well, I don't know about Matthew. We'll hear what he has to say. But the production of it is that thing that makes it a little bit off for me. And you're poking at it in different ways, but it's similar. There are things about
I don't know,
that's not.
Does he have an effects on it, or is
I don't
that
know.
something that the
But I guess
engineers do?
I'm including all of that. Maybe it's not just the engineers. I just mean like the choices
Oh.
they made with the production. Maybe it's not the
Okay.
engineers, but just how they chose to
Okay.
record it, mic it,
Yeah.
affect it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
No,
not.
maybe so. Okay.
I don't know.
I still think whatever effects on there, it's still interesting and cool, but it's nothing that I can like relate to as far as like that's Rob playing bass. The vocal harmonies and Tom's guitar work are great pillars to support what Rob's doing, and it's one that would be always great live. The world wasn't built in a day. Jesus, is this the fucking Roland Echo machine Andy used on Self Pity?
Oh yeah, right.
Right?
I wrote
Is
the same
it?
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he answered that for us back then. I don't know, but it really sounds like it. What a tool that thing is! Like
Yep.
it's just it's just amazing. It's an amazing intro to this piece.
Mhm.
I really like Rob's bass tone on this. Like unlike the other one, I really like how he
So
sounds.
different, right? On the same
Yeah.
album. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. And it just sounds like a slicer, just a lightning bolt. Uh, and the way he's singing this is also something really great too. And the bass, and I know this from being around music my whole life, but I realized today when I was writing some stuff, I added onto my notes like what Rob does a lot in all the songs he plays in No Means No. It's called an ostinato.
Mm.
He's playing the same thing over and over again, even when you change a key and playing the same thing over and over again. It's called an ostinato, and that's kind of what he does. It's just this foundational thing
Yeah.
that stays through the song through the whole piece, and it's an integral part of it. It's called an ostinato, and his the bass in this is just luscious and sinister, and I really love how it blends well with the lyrics and their delivery. I may have mentioned in round one that the song and all of its characteristics remind me heavily of their cover of Bitches Brew. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot
I
of
would-
the
yeah.
same kind of thought process that's going in that, and it's dark and pulled back and stark and stuff. Like Rob is really pulling out the stops with his part in this song, and it's just fucking lethal.
Yeah.
It's super magnetizing to me, and
Mm.
its heaviness is colossal.
Nice.
That's my
Fucking, I
round
love
one.
that.
Hey, thanks.
That's great.
Thanks, man. Well, it's tough to follow you.
No,
I'm thankful you like something I said.
I always love what you say.
Well,
Matthew, you're up. What do you got for us?
I liked what you said about it reminds you of Bitches Brew because
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's true or apocryphal that when they're getting one together, they weren't even going to release it as a No Means No album at first because it was
wow, is that
mostly
true?
just the brothers doing much of it.
I don't think I remember that.
Then they changed their mind or something like that. But I could
Mm-hmm.
totally imagine that the world wasn't built in a day. It would have been maybe coming out of the same place
Yeah.
as a lot
Yep.
of one, which is very, very Rob for sure. There's hardly any guitar in it. I kind of forget like, it's a 9-minute song. I'm going to listen for the guitar. And then I start listening to something else and forget I'm listening for the guitar. And I don't know that gadget that you're talking about with
It's
all
a
the
Roland. It's not a Space Echo. I asked Andy. It wasn't a Roland
But
Space Echo.
do
was
you
the
have to
famous
feed something
one.
into that? Like, so he's
It's an
playing
effects-
playing
it's an
guitar
effects
and fucking
box.
around with it.
Yeah.
There are like during the chorus, like during when the verses get heavy, there is a guitar
Yeah.
chords behind that play in with the bass.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right, of course.
yeah.
I was wondering whether like how those sounds are generated because they're so integral to the song,
Mhm.
and they're what makes it No Means No as opposed to a blues song that anybody could play. Barring the content of the lyrics and everything
Right,
like that.
right.
There's
But
not a lot.
musically, yeah.
That's all that complicated. Things I like about the song. I mean, the subtlety of the drums. I mean, obviously, they're played with incredible skill and all that. Subtle shifts in volume, subtle shifts of where the focus is in this repeated riff. But for the most part, you can name any number of kind of hard rock or blues based rock bands who would be easily capable of playing the song, but then that machine, whatever it is, that effect is what nobody could replicate. And I kind of wonder whether it is being manipulated live along with like listening to those other tracks, which was done last. I think it only could have been layered on afterwards.
I don't know.
Right.
It's
hard-
hard. It's a
I would
box.
agree.
It's not a pedal. It's a box with knobs. If you've
Yeah.
seen Andy playing
Self-pity.
what the fuck? Self Pity. If
Yeah.
you see Nanny playing Self Pity, he's playing the guitar, but he's making
Yeah.
all those sounds with his hands by turning knobs. It's like a small
Right.
And I think you're right,
box,
Matthew.
not a
That would have
pedal.
been laid down after the other tracks, as in
Yeah, maybe
response to
so.
them, right?
That's what I'm wondering, yeah.
yeah. It really sounds like that to me. I would
Or not
think
just
that's
I'm
the
going to make a
case.
bunch of sounds and see where it fits in.
I
But
don't know.
that's
I'm thinking they
yeah.
went the opposite way. They might have started with that. I mean,
Well,
that sets the
maybe.
mood for
Maybe.
this song.
anyway. It's so much.
Yeah.
It's an Andiness
Yeah.
that is in there, and I'm kind of wondering who is doing it, whether
Right.
it's Tom or whether it's one of the other
Oh, yeah.
guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good
Because
question.
John is responsible for so much of the stuff
Gizmos.
that isn't drums, drums or bass.
Yeah.
Yes.
All the other junk is probably John.
Yeah.
But yeah, so much atmosphere that's and it makes it a little uncanny, a little weird, and it's probably something that your bog standard music listener would find a little unsettling. And what's
That's
that
good.
doing in there? I think that's kind of wrecking it for me. But
What?
it totally makes it for me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The rest of it is pretty much a standard blues song,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what I mean. It's like
Mhm.
what's this weird atmosphere? I haven't heard
Mhm.
sounds like that. The story
called
must be
talent.
told. Yeah, yeah. I mean, a very baseline reading of the lyrics would be, oh, this guy tried to rape a demon, but I don't think it's like that simple, and I don't think it's about remorse. I think it's about, like Jordan was saying, it is a feminist song. I think it's somebody who hapless schmo who goes out and tries to
Schmo.
dominate femininity in general and just gets absolutely obliterated, reduced to nothing. And I liked that kind of reflection in these two songs. They are different, but they do have a similarity in that there's been a extremely violent something that happened, even though it was very, very quiet. He's dreaming of a world where just all his friends were gone. It's a tragedy. It's a cataclysm of sorts. And then the male entity protagonist, I don't want to call him a protagonist, the story of a rape, but
Right.
he is stripped of everything, including his credibility, everything. So, in both songs, something very extreme, something very a removal of something has happened. They're both bereft of something, but
Mhm.
in The Story Must Be Told, the guy is completely wrecked, whereas in The World Wasn't Built in a Day, he's elated to
Right.
be free of something, but maybe
Right.
free of it, but also missing it. Very, very complicated. It'd be interesting to talk to Rob about that song, and I don't feel that way about many of them. Would be interested to see where it was at for that particular one. Musically, again, yeah, The World Wasn't Built in a Day. The interesting part for me isn't music per se. It's those weird sounds and everything like that. The Story Must Be Told.
Yep.
The music is if I had to identify, and maybe this is the same thing that you guys were getting at, there's something that I don't quite get about The Story Must Be Told, is that the first part of the song doesn't grab me. I don't really like it doesn't remove me. The music itself is a bit plunky. There's some sort of honky tonk weird bits, and it doesn't really grab me.
Yeah,
But
I
then
don't know what it is.
the coda part is almost like a different song entirely. I can't really sort of draw very much connection with the first part much at all, really.
Yeah.
Unless it is the release afterwards. But musically, they're really quite different. And in fact, I wrote down
Sonic.
that the coda for The Story Must Be Told would actually match up better with Joy than it does with the rest of its own song.
Oh,
Interesting.
wow.
I love it. It's super incredibly intense. It could be a song in its own right, or it's long enough to be. It's
Right.
about 2.5 minutes long. So yeah, that's if I don't like anything about the song, it's just I can't. Maybe I have to do more thinking about it, but they don't really seem. It seems a little disjointed because of that. Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe it's because they couldn't find a place to put that other coda or didn't know how to finish.
Yeah.
this story about this guy getting ruined by some female something. I do like how the guitar and the bass are very much in unison, and the Sprechgesang, I should get Rolf to
Yep.
pronounce that word for me, follows the music. Clearly, they're written together. I do like that. Yeah, Tom does a lot. That's Tom. That's not Tom being told what to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. What else have I got? Not too much more. No, that's pretty much it.
All right.
Yeah, no, just the world wasn't built in a day. There's a joy to it. It's also post-apocalyptic, and
Right.
that transposition is pretty unique to No Means No, not uncommon in No Means No. But I can't think of very many creators.
It's like the last song you ever hear before you die, or something.
Yeah, kind of.
Have I said that before about a song?
Yeah, it'd be a good
Maybe
one
it
to
was
play at a
about this one.
funeral for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in a little bit, it's just a kind of continuation or different perspective of the day of everything became nothing. It's maybe the same guy at a different time of day.
Right. Oh, Matthew, that's great.
And I kind of like also that, Red Devil came up. I mean, that is the song of a younger man with, horny beast inside him. But then, all of this melding together of other entities right at the end. I mean, it's a very lovely image where he's, you lie before me sleeping, your eyes flutter in a dream. Am I in you? Are you in me? What should I believe? And then all this stuff about, your voice from my throat cries, your heart beats in my chest, this intertwining of, or maybe harmonization of an older man. And, this whole situation, which so many men would take advantage of, where this woman, seen her, he'd seen her face 100 times, but never knew her name. It's not this particular woman. It's all the women that he'd fantasized about in a mundane circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately he is presented with the opportunity to have sex with her. He's being invited to do so. And he's just, no.
Yeah.
And he chooses to talk about his dead father instead, right? Like
Dead
Then he's
father.
got a chick at the house.
he's
Like, he shouldn't be doing that anyways.
He's really
And
trying
then-
to open up to her
Yeah.
Jeez.
and connect on a real level.
And
she just
as
wants to
she
fuck.
walked to the door, as those bags of groceries gently swayed, I mean, it's kind of a sexual image, but he's not looking at her boobs and he's not looking at her ass. He's looking at the groceries.
God.
Yeah.
The
And
most
he's like,
mundane possible thing.
No way. Man, no way.
No.
Uh-oh.
And-
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. So,
So, yeah, that's
What?
about all I got, I guess.
well, for
Can I
round
say
one.
something corny?
Sure.
With what Matthew was just saying, what was that one, like, what walks on 4 legs in the morning?
Two
in
legs in the afternoon and
and
3 in the it's the
evening?
Sphinx's
What
riddle.
was that?
It's
Yeah.
the Sphinx's
Oh, the
riddle
Sphinx.
from Oedipus.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
That's kind of what Matthew was talking about.
Oh,
what it
highlights.
reminded me
I
of
think I already
anyways.
talked about that. Lowlights, not much. It's a very lonely song, despite the fact that loneliness is a lie. I like the contradiction. I like the confusion. I like the fact that he accepts that maybe he's not going to come to any kind of a resolution.
Right.
Yeah, in terms of lowlights, I kind of wish that very, very last when he says, "You know what they say," and then there's one more little crash of the chorus. Dun, 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 dun.
It goes
And
up
then-
to a major, with the unresolved major.
But I kind of wish that wasn't there. I just
Oh.
wish the song had ended on
Had-
you know
on,
what they
on the
say.
minor. Okay. Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, I can see that.
Picardy third.
Nice. So, I'll kick off round 2 here. One thing though, before I want to pick up on, like it talks about how representative these songs are as a whole. I think worldhood. I keep saying that the world wasn't
I
built
know.
in a day.
I was like,
Jesus Christ, the world wasn't built
sorry.
in a day. To me, really resonates with The River, not just because they're 2 of my favorite songs, but because they're talking about that basic human inability to cross what is literally an infinite gulf between individuals. Whereas The River is a master's thesis on this front, a highly intellectual but very emotional master's thesis on it. This is the version of the man sitting on his porch drinking his whiskey, really pouring his heart out about that same question, about how
Right,
he
right.
experiences the question, not about
Mhm.
how we as humans in general experience it, but
Sure.
his deeply personal exploration of it. But it's the same question.
Right.
These two songs are exploring the same fundamental question. I mean, to me, it's like it's a one-to-one correspondence, these two songs. They sit side by side on the shelf, but they're from different perspectives. They're talked about differently. And I love them both differently because of that.
Right, right.
But that's the beauty to me of Rob's writing in particular, of how he's able to deeply explore these kind of things. And so in that sense, I think this is very representative of No Means No, at least a certain strain of it, in the sense that it's exploring what I think is a major preoccupation for Rob. This question has
Yeah.
been deeply moored in him from the very beginning, and to see his journey, I won't say growth, but to see his journey of contending with it and wrestling with it and offering it to us artistically for us to contend with it is a beautiful thing. And it's one of the things that has set this band above all other bands for me, because no other band ever has engaged me with this level of questioning that these guys do, and that Rob probably does lyrically in particular, right? I mean,
Right,
there's a
right.
lot more to this band than just the lyrics, but on that front, I live my life in search of deepening the question, not of finding an answer. I found that out a long time ago, that that's really, to me, the right side of the equation, is trying to deepen my questions about things and not to seek for the answers of things. And this
Yeah.
band is that in spades. And this song,
Mhm.
to me, is
Mhm.
that in spades. It's really settling in. So in that sense, I think it's very representative of No Means No. I don't know, I could say as a whole, but at least to me, one of the most important strains of them. I think this is a very representative song. It's certainly representative of fucking Rob. I think this is
Yeah.
distilled Rob in a fine bottle
Distilled
that
Rob.
is at the top shelf that you cork
Absolutely.
out and
Yeah.
pull out on a warm night, or a cold night
Yep.
rather, in front of the fire.
Mhm.
The story must be told. I think maybe I like the beginning of that song better than you two in terms of the music, in terms of the I really like the riff. I don't know that the engineering is, I don't know that I love it, but I do like that part, and I like I don't know. I like all that parts. I think it's really fucking great. Is it representative of them? I mean, in the sense that it's a fun, good, noodly riff, and it's a mythological. It's pretty representative, but I don't feel like it deeply resonates in a way that makes me feel like it's an important song for them, in the way that some of their other songs. There are other songs that do similar things that do it better.
Mhm.
Um, and I do think that it's an all-timer coda. I think it's fucking great.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
and I think that's something they do elsewhere also. Give Me the Push. Like, there's all these songs where they have these great extended codas that are just fucking from another universe. So I think it's representative in that sense. But yeah, I don't know that it's important as a whole. And I definitely think the story must be told is important, just to me personally. It's just important as a piece of art. But I think in their oeuvre, I think it's important. I think for those that have written off or don't connect with post Andy era No Means No, totally get it. But you're missing something. This is some fucking fine art here. And it may not land with you, but fuck, man, this is great shit. It's great shit. So I don't feel any way about it. You can like it or not, that's fine. But I just think it's top shelf, newbie
You're
wise.
missing something. Yeah.
Would I introduce either of these to a newbie? I would not introduce The Story Must Be Told. I don't think there'd be any reason to pop this in front of someone necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily skip it, but I wouldn't put it on initially. This World Wasn't Built in a Day. I think it's too deep in the paint for a newbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I think it's not a good introduction. It's more,
No.
oh, good, you have a good taste of them. Now hear this. We had a couple of
Yeah.
beers. We enjoyed it. Now here's some whiskey,
Right.
and let's
Have
sit
some
down
fine
and
wine.
really
Right,
listen.
whiskey.
So I don't think
Exactly.
either of these are newbie songs, which doesn't, especially World Wasn't Built. I don't think that's a knock against it. I just think it needs more than a newbie could hear.
Right.
They don't have the
Right.
ears for it yet. They need to be
Right.
trained before they can
Yeah.
get this one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it for round 2 for me. Matthew. No, Michelle.
That's Michelle.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. I'll go. Whatever you say, sir. The story must be told. This is a good example of their later catalog. Unison work with a guitar and bass, heavy vocal harmonies, and songs that tell a story. It includes some good instrumental experimenting, which nods to more of their past catalog. World wasn't built in a day. There's a handful of great and heavy Rob Wright story hour type songs, and this one is a doozy. He almost has his own within their catalog. Do you know, like
Yeah.
Rob?
Oh yeah,
like,
well,
Oh,
he
yeah.
could have gone out and played this as Mr. Wrong.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, this could absolutely be a Mr. Wrong song. Yep.
Mr. Wrong
think
song
he
too.
did.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I would bet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's got his own thing going on within their catalog, and they are top shelf examples of his talent and aptitude. Would I play these? I wouldn't play either of these
Yeah.
for anybody deliberately. Not at all. They'd be good to put on for background stuff, but it was nothing I would put the needle on the record for to listen to.
Yeah.
Like you said, Jordan, you gotta work your way up to this, and you gotta be in the right mindset to hear something like that.
Yep.
Especially the world wasn't built, or I mean,
The Worldhood. I'm just kidding.
yeah, the Worldhood, yeah.
Where he plays the
it's
bass.
heavy, and I like it, and it's just at the end of the night. That's
Yep.
what you listen to at the end of the night.
There you go. I
Yeah.
probably will tonight, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
All right, Matthew, how about you?
I think the story must be told is representative in the lyrics, but less so in
Point.
the music. Like, even the music. If I really like, as I've said, I really like that last third of the song a lot. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. It has a lot of things that I like about music generally, but you need some chops. But if I heard that and hadn't associated it with a No Means No song, that sounds like No Means No, but I might not think it is.
right.
I might think that's, I don't know, Queens of the Stone Age or something.
Oh God. Okay.
No, I like Queens of the Stone Age.
No, I know. No. They gotta. Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe that's not the best characterization, but maybe you know what I mean there.
Yeah.
I do know what you mean.
Because it is one of the very, very few songs that feels a little mismatched somehow to me, or that they mash them together from other things. Yeah, I don't know if it's representative on that basis. The world wasn't built in a day. It's Rob as fuck, but I don't know how representative of No Means
Rob
No
as fuck. I love that.
it is. Because it is, it's effectively a Mr. Wrong song, and him, Rob the Blues Man,
Right.
kind of thing. In terms of where they, how important they are in the whole works, the story must be told. It's one I kind of forget about. I really like it when I hear about it, but it's certainly not a go-to for me. I would not have, I had to look up on the internet here, like, oh, where is that on the album? Oh yeah, it's first. Okay. Because it's been a long time since I listened to albums, I guess. Sometimes I don't, because I'm not a vinyl guy. And the world wasn't built in a day. I think it's important as an example of what the storytelling aspect, but musically not a high point really, because it's just so simple. I mean, beautiful but simple, and not
right.
exactly what I would think of or how I would describe No Means No to somebody. That's not the song I would describe.
Right.
Newbie, probably neither of them, because the story must be told. I think you need to read along. Like, it's a much more interesting song if you're reading the lyrics along with it.
Fair.
It's very interesting, actually, and I'd kind of like to know where they were at, especially the line, which I totally forgot, but 9 times she bellied over him, 9 times on the phone she
the 9
rose.
times part.
And I don't remember what I said. I have to go back and listen to episode 27 or what it was. But yeah, it's nautical stuff.
Well, and that also, I've always thought in that line, it's him trying to be on top of her, raping her, and to belly over someone is to flip them over so that you're
Yeah.
on top of them, right? So
Yeah.
it's like 9 times she kept getting the upper hand. She kept rolling over and like, fuck
Jeez.
you. No, I'm on top.
Why do you
But yeah,
sit
in a
there and
ship, if
count
you're
that?
bellying over,
Right.
then
Yeah.
it's coming close to capsizing, but also, you know, rising up on the waves and crashing down on
Mhm.
something. But I think the 9 times, maybe it's
Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
assonance, but I think maybe there's more significance to that particular number for some reason. I don't know why. Just because
9
it's rad, maybe.
times.
I can do it. I can do it 9 times. I wonder how many people just got that reference.
Hey,
Probably very
fuck
few.
you. My first reference, I wonder how many people got mine.
What was yours?
9 times.
I don't get either of them.
Ferris Bueller's Day
that's
Off.
how-
When the principal was telling him how many days he skipped school.
Oh.
Oh,
Wasn't it 9 times and he changed it on the computer to like
mine was
5 or
Homestar Runner.
okay.
Oh, Jordan.
Mm,
Oh boy. Okay, I'm
I
gonna have to
fail.
find that one for you.
okay. Oh my god.
Yeah, newbie. Maybe great. Yeah, you need to work your way up to.
Yeah.
The world wasn't built in a day, and you know you might if somebody wasn't. You know, you're listening to No Means No. You're listening to a new band that everybody loves and is really passionate about. If you heard a little segment of it, it might dismiss it.
Yeah. You have to hear the whole thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And kind of pay attention. Like it's a song
Yeah.
that demands engaging with it. You can't just kind of hear it.
Yeah. I don't know for the chat rule, which one I would recommend, which one I would play first
Fuck,
to a
chat rule
newbie.
doesn't apply
I don't know.
here. Chat rule
I
doesn't
know, I
apply
don't
when
think so.
neither
I
are
know.
newbie songs. Chat rule's out the window.
No.
I might just for incredible intensity and certain aspects that I really really like arpeggios, for instance. I might play that section of The Story Must Be Told that I like so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
skip to
yeah,
the
yeah.
end. Listen to this part.
Skip to the end.
Yep.
But yeah. Oh, anyway. That's it.
Speaking of newbie, the one story I'll tell on that is my friend Chris, who passed a few years ago, who I dearly loved and introduced me to all the best literature and music other than No Means No that I love.
Chris.
I remember the day this came out and I bought it. Well, I don't know if this came out, but I bought it because I bought it almost right after it came out. And he knew of my love for No Means No, and he also liked them a lot. I don't know if he loved them ever as much as I did. And I brought him over, and I played this song for him. So like, yeah, the new album's come out. Let's hear it. And he went like, "This is kind of like No Means No light." And I was always kind of like, "What?" Kind of offended by that.
Yeah.
But he's kind of right in a weird way. Even though it's a really heavy song, there's something. So anyway, a newbie said that's what a newbie said about this song. It's kind of No Means No light. So
Well.
there you
Hmm.
go. Always held that against him, but I don't anymore. All right, well
No.
let's vote. So I go first.
Okay.
No mystery here. World Wasn't Built in a Day by A Million Miles. I love this song so much. Song's very very dear to me. So
Yep.
I 100% vote for that. Michelle, what about you?
Second your emotion.
It's going through, so that's good. But how
Yep.
about you, Matthew? Where are you at?
Yeah, I like the listenability of it. I don't know that I would. Yeah, you need the time to listen to it all the way through. I think the World Wasn't Built in a Day is a better complete entity. I like your characterization as a labyrinth. You know, kind of goes back and you end up where you started.
Yeah.
I must say though, the part that I like in The Story Must Be Told, if they had woven a song out of that last third, that would be way up there, just musically.
If ifs and nuts were candies and butts, Christmas would be every day.
If it what?
Yeah.
If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, Christmas would be every day.
The hell are you talking about?
Never mind.
Yeah.
In any event, I get the point.
Rolf, what the fuck's he saying?
I don't know, man.
Something bullshit.
Yeah,
I'm on my bullshit. That's
World
what I mean.
World Wasn't Built in a Day. I think has to be because it's a finished song, and the other one seems a little cobbled together to me.
Michelle, it's a dumb saying my family used to say a lot, and it means like
Never
if you
heard
say
it
a thing
before.
like if it were this or if it were or but for this, right? Like Matthew saying like if this part of the song were something else, And so the saying is, if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, Christmas would be every day. Meaning, like, you can't just say ifs and buts; it doesn't mean anything because it's not real. You'd have Christmas every day if you just lived on ifs and
Wow.
buts.
It's
It was,
about
Okay.
it was a dumb thing. I shouldn't have explained it.
I wonder how many songs of theirs have like little parts like.
Yeah, right.
God, I remember when we were talking to John
Frankenstein.
and I told him like the fucking beginning of Ghosts. God, I love that. I fucking love the beginning of Ghosts. And he said that was a completely different song.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Completely different. So
Which
I
is why they
wonder how
pulled
many
it out
times-
into Ghosts of Time, right? Like they're like, let's just
Exactly.
make this its own shit.
God, I
Every
love
day,
that.
every day I start to use was just a bunch of unconnected,
Yeah.
scribblings in a notebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Interesting.
we've got Red Devil wandering the world in loss of joy. The story's not going to be told anymore, unfortunately.
Oh God.
And I think we've got 2 bangers on their way into the next round, whenever that might happen.
Bangerville.
I don't. People from Vancouver will remember this, but there's this weird. It's near the East Van sign at Great Northern Way and Clark Drive, and there's this strange little memorial thing with a pedestal in the middle. And one time somebody out there in the world just. There was a sculpture. I don't know what it was made out of, paper mache or something more robust. It was just a Satan with a great big boner, and it was there for a couple days.
No shit.
And then
Don't
they
tell
took
me
it
that's
away.
not fucking Red Devil.
Yeah, I kind
Flower,
of wonder.
for
I
fuck's
kinda
sake.
wonder. I'll try to
Man.
find a photo of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
please.
Jesus Christ.
There you
if you find
go.
it, post that on the
Wow.
fucking
Oh, it's
board,
fantastic.
please. Nice.
Wow. That's a good way to end this shit. Jesus.
All right. Well, No Means No Thing is produced and edited by yours truly, Jordan Flato. Co-hosting
Yeah.
and amazing podcast graphics are by the excellent Matthew Kowalik. Strange rumblings in the background and interstitial yelpings are by Rolf, sitting back there in the chair.
That's right.
Michelle Strangers is our third and everyone's favorite, especially Andy's co-host and
That's
official
right.
Foley artist. Shout out
Yes.
to our double, triple official mascot, Teddy.
Yeah.
Thank you, as always, to No Means No for the use of stock taking as our intro and outro music. In our town, martyrs hang from the gallows pole.
You sick and tired of the same old thing? Or you happy enough? Tell me when there's so much becomes so little, when there's too little becomes too much, when there's so much becomes so little, when there's too little become too much.
All right, you've stuck around, fans, for our round,
The secret session.
the secret session where we talk about what's next. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
There's no
Uh-oh.
bad
This is for
songs left.
episode 66.
66. En route 66.
2/3 of Satan. 2/3.
There's round 1.
Wait.
It's in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah, oof.
wait a minute. Okay, this
Oops,
is
no.
getting. Wait a minute. How come it's.
Okay, this next one's not hard.
Wait, Ralph's looking at it. He's going to tell everybody.
I won't say a word, but
Don't
boy,
say a
do
word.
I feel like I'm on the inside now.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
All right, here's round 2. This will be fun. This will be a fun episode.
Yeah.
I know my votes already.
Well, that's no fun.
I know one of my votes. I don't know
Happens
the
every
other.
time.
I know
Happens
you do. Yeah.
every fucking time.
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We appreciate your being here. Write us, call us, yell at us, stroke our egos, whatever you want to do. Don't say stroke. Not in this episode. Anyway, thank you very much. And as always,
Devil bits.
as always, fuck off.
Fuck off. Oh.